Hey everybody, Meteorologist Mike Slifer here in the First Alert Forecast Center. We have a jam-packed First Alert Weather Extra for you. We're going to break down the First Alert Weather Day tomorrow. We have a second First Alert Weather Day on Sunday, what we know so far about that, how things have evolved and how things are evolving as we speak, and a look ahead to next week when we have a bit more in the way of heat. So those are the weather headlines on this First Alert Weather Extra. We'll jump right into the heat advisories that go through tomorrow and include almost all of Connecticut with just the exception of the southeastern part of the state along the shoreline. Heat index values 95 to 100, if not higher. And you'll note that we have an air quality alert in effect for parts of the state tomorrow too. This is the forecast for air quality tomorrow. The shoreline especially forecast to be a bit of an issue for sensitive groups. So this is people with pre-existing conditions, asthma, COPD, and we're expecting high concentrations of ground level ozone to be the culprit there. And this is pretty typical when we see these very hot, humid days. And the heat risk map here for tomorrow does highlight moderate to major impacts. Some of those major impacts really favored along parts of, say, the 95 corridor, particularly through southwestern Connecticut, even parts of the 84 corridor, and then inland a bit from there. So we've been giving you the first alert to this since last weekend. Certainly something that we've been covering in depth, not only in our newscasts, but on our app, on our website, here on our First Alert Weather Extra. Our day planner through tomorrow showing that it already feels like the low 80s by 8 o'clock in the morning and low 90s by 10 a.m. Feeling more like 100 away from the sound by noon, and we keep those heat index values in the low hundreds range through 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening. When it comes to the timing of thunderstorms, there's the thunderstorm icon appearing there in the middle of the afternoon. To give you a better idea of what it will feel like statewide, even throughout the Litchfield Hills, we're forecasting heat index values to be well into the 90s. Same with New London. Sometimes in southeastern Connecticut, especially with an onshore wind direction, we can get some relief, but there will not be much relief to be had tomorrow, and that's just because it's going to be so humid. Another First Alert Weather Day. And that humidity will act, that heat and humidity, I should say, will provide plenty of energy for thunderstorms as a cold front dives south. This is 7 o'clock tomorrow morning on First Alert Futurecast. We are bright, we are dry, but as that front moves south and into that unstable air mass, it will help to trigger strong to perhaps severe thunderstorms, most likely middle of the afternoon into the early to mid-evening hours, clearing out thereafter, leading to bright and relatively comfortable conditions for Saturday. The Storm Prediction Center has upgraded almost all of Connecticut to a level 2 risk. We started talking about this a bit yesterday, and this is what we expected, just given the overall setup here with so much instability around, so much energy for these storms to tap into. This is the zoomed-in view of First Alert Futurecast showing the bright start to the day, and then we start to see some isolated development around 2 in the afternoon, isolated to scattered points thereafter. And there are some signals from some of the latest model runs coming in that perhaps this will end up being a more isolated to scattered event as opposed to widespread. But be prepared for strong thunderstorms tomorrow in the evening. Any of the storms that move through will provide lightning. Some of the strongest could bring damaging wind gusts or hail, and also we run the risk within the region of perhaps an isolated tornado, but that is a very low risk overall. Dew points do drop back on Saturday, but look at that spike back into Sunday, and that is going to provide fuel for our next round of showers and storms. The cold front will be offshore Saturday morning, and high pressure is in control. So Saturday, the pick of the weekend. But by Sunday, we have that warm front approaching, and it's behind that warm front where we start to build in a bit more in the way of humidity. And while temperatures aren't looking quite as high on Sunday as they are tomorrow, we will still have enough instability and energy around for rain and thunderstorms. Some of those storms could be strong or severe. Sunday, a First Alert Weather Day because of that storm threat. The biggest issue related to your outdoor plans. There are still some timing differences for Sunday, which is not too big of a surprise given we're still several days out, but as it stands right now, we do think that perhaps the greatest risk for storms will be, again, in the middle of the day into the afternoon and evening hours. So we'll be watching this very closely as time evolves. In the meantime, we have nothing to track across the state tonight, and by this time tomorrow night, in fact, we should be done tracking things too. But there are thunderstorms ongoing across portions of say closer to the greater Toronto area and into parts of western New York, almost moving over the Great Lakes. And those are the storms that will make their way here here tomorrow. Our iCam view in Torrington showing the flag moving a bit in the wind. We have a bit of a southerly breeze out there, but that's what's bringing all of the muggy, humid air into Connecticut and helping keep things a bit warmer out there. 74, our iCam view in Waterbury showing dry roadways. Here's the view in Windsor Locks right now. 78 at Bradley International. Winds out of the south at 11 miles per hour. And our iCam view in Middletown looking pretty good too. We can see the Aragoni Bridge, and we can see a couple of stars out there. Still fairly clear skies. In New Haven, overlooking the green, it's 77 degrees. Winds out of the south at 5 miles an hour. And we'll finish with our iCam in New London, where it's currently 73. So today for the Hartford area, we made it to 89, just shy of 90 degrees, 3 degrees above where we typically would be this time of year. But that's a bit of an important date for us today and that's because our warmest average high is 86. That's the case for an 11-day stretch from the July 13th through July 24th, meaning tomorrow our average high begins to fall. Here are the averages for tomorrow. 85 the average high, 64 the normal low. And keep an eye on that 98 there too, where they're going to bring that back up in conversation here in just a moment. Many towns today made it into the upper 80s, falling short ultimately of the 90-degree mark. And temperatures right now are still in the mid and upper 70s throughout Connecticut. This is certainly warmer than yesterday, anywhere from just a degree to several degrees higher. But perhaps more notable is the difference in dew point. Mid and upper 60s, lower 70s. So we're right on the cusp of becoming humid, oppressively so across Connecticut. So expect the humidity to ramp up. That also means temperatures rather slow to fall here for the remainder of the night, with many towns in the upper 60s and low to mid 70s. Mostly clear, warm, and muggy. Tomorrow, we're expecting temperatures to make it into the 90s. Some of the highest temperatures focused on southwestern Connecticut, especially away from Long Island Sound. We are forecasting record warmth for Bridgeport. The record's 93. We're forecasting 93. For the Hartford area, the record's 98. We are forecasting 91. So it does look like that record could be safe. After the front clears on Saturday, plenty of sunshine out there, highs in the upper 80s. And while Sunday will not be quite as warm, it's the humidity and that front nearby that causes some concern for rain and perhaps thunderstorms, prompting a first alert weather day. By Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday next week, we go 91 Monday, inland 93 Tuesday, 90 on Wednesday. 3 days in a row at or above 90 means it could be our third heat wave of 2025. And even the shoreline will be close. We're forecasting 89 Monday, 90 on Tuesday and Wednesday. We can't say for certain that Tuesday and Wednesday will be completely dry, but it does appear that any storms that develop will be very isolated in nature. And then by Thursday next week, temperatures dip below average with highs back in the lower 80s. So as we mentioned, to get a heat wave in this part of the country, we need 3 consecutive days or more at or above 90. That's what we're forecasting for the middle of next week. We fell short of making it onto our tally today. 14 days at or above 90 so far this year. In a typical year, we average 20. And on the 8 to 14 day outlook here, this brings us from August 1st through the 7th. Shades of blue indicating the higher likelihood the temperatures actually will be a bit below average as we kick off the new month. Just as a point of reference, our average high to begin the month of August is 85, average low is 63. By the end of the month, the average high for August goes to 81, average low 59. And we typically see about 4.21 inches of rainfall in the month of August. Also of note is that we only have 2 weeks left with sunsets in the 8 o'clock hour. August 8th, 2 weeks from tomorrow, is when our sunset will be at 8 p.m. And then, of course, by the middle of September, we're talking about sunsets going from the 7 o'clock hour into the 6 o'clock hour. So this is maybe not everybody's favorite topic, but it is something that we start to see change more rapidly. The rate at which we lose daylight will increase throughout August and into September, especially as we near the autumnal equinox in September and get closer to the start of astronomical fall. So certainly a lot to cover tomorrow. Now, you can join Scott Gagliardi tomorrow morning for any updates pertaining to the risk for severe weather. And we, of course, will have you covered as we get into the afternoon. Chief Meteorologist Mark Dixon will be here. I will be here. But you can also get updates in between on the free WFSB First Alert Weather app. It'll send you updates based on your location, not just for storms, but even if lightning is headed your way. Not just for severe storms, I should say. Lightning is, of course, dangerous in the summertime, and if you can hear thunder, you're close enough to be struck. So if you hear thunder tomorrow, step inside, let the storms pass, and then you can go back out. Saturday, the pick of the weekend. Sunday, we'll be watching very closely to see how it evolves. Increasing sunshine Monday, a mix of sun and clouds Tuesday, Wednesday next week, and then we're going full sunshine by next Thursday as temps dip back down into the lower and mid 80s. That's our First Alert Weather Extra. We will have much more for you on the wax in 20 and on Channel 3 tonight at 11. Have a great night, everyone.